Life in a world that keeps changing. Think that it's progress you're making. Copy and paste pretty faces all the time. Pictures so perfect we play.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Anointed Lady TV, the home of news and politics. If it is your first time in this channel, you are highly welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. And if you like what we do on this channel, hit on the subscribe button. Also put on the notification bell so you'll be notified by YouTube anytime we drop a new video. And if you are returning subscribers, thank you very much for always coming back to watch our videos. On this platform, we drop videos every day and we react to every video that come our way. And on this very video, I will be watching with you. And after watching, let's go to the comment section and drop our opinion constructively. Like our videos and also share our videos if possible. See you next time in my next video.
And thank you so much indeed, Mr. Falana, for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Sean.
I'd like to begin by getting your views on the Court of Appeal judgment. If you look at the judgment in Lagos, for example, and you compare with the judgment in Plateau State, it's a case of different strokes for different folks. And there are those who will draw an inference to say they're fundamentally a similar scenario playing out, but the judgments were not the same. How do you appraise some of the judgments coming out of the court based on the election of 2023?
Well, in the first place, Sean, as I have repeatedly made clear, the stakeholders should go back to the drawing table so that the involvement of judges in our elections can be completely eliminated. Nigeria is the only country in the world today where results of elections are determined by judges. It shouldn't be so. We have just witnessed in Liberia, a country that Nigeria assisted to restore political stability. We just witnessed an election there. Recently, we witnessed an election, a successful election in Sierra Leone. Again, another country assisted by Nigeria to have law and order restored. So if these countries can organize elections, why are we asking judges to determine the result of our elections with respect to the decisions of the Court of Appeal? That is not the end of the road. All those who are dissatisfied will have to go to the Supreme Court. But if you look at what happened in Lagos, why it's different from Plateau, is that you are being told in the case of Plateau, there was a judgment of the High Court to the effect that primaries have to be conducted. The judgment, as usual, was dishonored, disregarded, disobeyed, and the elections went on. I think the last time I can recall that the Supreme Court berated the Nigerian political class to learn to comply with the doctrine of least spending was the case of Mr. Peter Obi and INEC. When in 2007, in spite of the case of Mr. Peter Obi that was pending the High Court, INEC went and proceeded to hold the election. The Supreme Court made the point that it was a risk on the part of INEC to engage in a wasteful exercise by conducting that election while the case of Mr. Peter Obi was pending. Now, if we are being told here that the court ordered their primaries be held and the primaries were not held, and the election took place on the basis of the primaries that were not held, there are problems. I do hope that the Supreme Court will make a definitive pronouncement on this. Again, it's different from Kano, where you are being told now that voters can be punished. It's a very dangerous judicial policy to punish sanction voters for the mistake of electoral officer. We are being told here that 165,000 votes are wasted. They are invalid because some electoral officers refused or committed an error by not stamping them. How does that affect the validity of the election? If you recall again the case of Yaradua, Buhari and Yaradua, even the election material, the ballot papers were not serialized, they were not marked, but the Supreme Court came to the conclusion that the petitioner, General Buhari, on that occasion, did not impeach the integrity of the election. So I do hope that this time around the Supreme Court will again resolve this needless controversy surrounding the stamping of ballot paper by INEC officials who have not been recommended for any discipline or any sanction. So this is why these judgments will have to be reviewed.
I'd like to ask, I mean, the Electoral Law 2022 was amended in respect of pre-election matters and how much of effect it can have on the outcome of an election. And that those who believe that in Plateau State, there was a pre-election matter in this case, in Lagos, there's an element of that also which played out. And perhaps how much of merit that section in the Electoral Act has in the judgments of the Honorable Justices of the Court of Appeal in some of the judgments that have been executed so far.
Well, again, there is some inconsistency here as to whether pre-election cases should be carried over and determined after the conduct of election. I have always criticized that. And my position is that all pre-election matters be concluded before election, general election, and all election petitions challenging the conduct of elections be concluded before the inauguration of incoming government. But we have an incongruous situation whereby pre-election matters are carried over and taken after the election. It amounts to a waste if the elections are set aside on the basis of pre-election matter. And it shouldn't be so. And this is the kind of problems we are trying to encounter now. Again, as I said, the ball is now in the court of the Supreme Court.
Now, I mean, interestingly, I will come to that deliberation which Plaque, as an organization, Clement Wanko and his friends are put together to ensure that there is a review of the electoral law in respect of some of the shenanigans that happen within the political parties going into an election that makes a mockery of our election, and some of the discrepancy and some of the unbelievable behaviors of the politicians in our election in broad daylight, and how they subvert the rule of law in our elections. And I'd like you to touch on those things that you discussed at that meeting on Friday and Saturday, and how we can jumpstart the process of fixing the electoral law. But it also looks to me, Mr. Falana, that politicians are already looking at the vacuum and at the vulnerability of our electoral law to subvert our election. Don't you think?
No, the election, the laws are there. But we have a political culture that allows members of the ruling class, and it's not limited to election. We have a culture, a political culture, that allows members of the ruling class, the bourgeoisie, to ignore our laws, to ignore court orders, and they are the system. And that is why you're having these problems. The law is very clear on internal democracy, but you have people call themselves chieftains of political parties who make a mockery of internal democracy in the party, whereas you are supposed to have consensus candidates. They impose candidates and they call them consensus candidates. They subvert the electoral process by talking of indirect primaries, instead of allowing members of the political party to participate in direct primary. These are some of the issues we discussed on Friday, Saturday. And we can't go on like this. Now, once you have dealt with the question of the political culture, whereby all violators of the law, no matter how highly placed, will be brought to book. And that is what is going on in America now. President Trump, in all his majesty, in all his powers, is being arraigned. He's facing 4 cases, 4 criminal cases. One of them or 2 of them has to do with electoral fraud and insurrection. But here, you just had an insurrection in Rivers State. Nobody is talking of those who conveyed the House of Assembly in the night, those who set fire on the House of Assembly. Nobody is talking about that. But in the US, President Trump is standing trial for the insurrection, the attack on Capitol on 6th of January, 2021. But in the case of Nigeria, it's business as usual. And that is why we are insisting that we must now set up the Electoral Offences Commission, Electoral Offences Tribunal, to try all those who violate the provisions of the Electoral Act before and during the election and even after the election by manipulating election results. But once you don't do this, you witness, as we just witnessed 2 weeks ago, the shameful elections that took place in Kogi, Bayelsa, and Imo, whereby in 3 states, 92,000 police personnel, 22,500 civil defense personnel, FRSC, SSS, EFCC, and the rest of them, altogether numbering about 140,000 security personnel to manage election, to man election in 3 states. At the end of the day, somebody was thrown to the river in Bayelsa. 4 people were killed in Kogi State. There was snatching of ballot boxes. Money was, the EFCC confiscated about 11 million naira. But at the end of the day, are we sure that these criminal elements are going to be tried? So again, we agreed on that. 3, we agree that the movement of judges, particularly sitting judges, should be completely eliminated. We are suggesting that retired judges, we have a pool of retired judges who should constitute election petition tribunals and appellate chambers so that we can allow the regular courts to continue to handle cases of other citizens who have nothing to do with politics. Now, once you can do that, now we are not going to have this problem of congestion of cases in the regular court. Again, we are suggesting that INEC, the onus should be on INEC to prove that credible elections are being conducted. The onus should not be on petitioner the petitioners who have no access to election material. Again, we suggested once an election is concluded, in no less than 7 days, all the election materials must be uploaded and transmitted to the website of INEC, so that whoever wants to file an election petition can do so without going through the current problems. The other point is that if you are going to file petition, again, we suggested and we agree that we shouldn't have a situation where all those who contested an election will file election petitions. In other words, this battle, the legal battle, should be between the winner of the election or the candidate declared by the INEC and the runner-up. So what is the business of the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, or even 10th, candidate filing election petitions. So we have this suggestion. But the other one, which is very important, is that all pre-election cases be conducted before election, be concluded, and all post-election, all election petitions be concluded, be tried by courts and concluded before the inauguration of incoming government. Now, internal democracy must now be promoted in the parties, a situation where the president of the country or the governors of states say that their leaders of political parties is undemocratic. It's not part of our law. Only the elected officials of political parties are leaders of the parties. The president and governors are members of political parties. So the question of going to hold a meeting of political party in the presidential villa or in the state house in any state is illegal, because the presidential villa is for all Nigerians, for all political parties. So the ruling party cannot hold political party meetings in the villa. Ditto for the state. So that once the president and governor are made to realize that they are members of political parties and not leaders of these political parties, imposing candidates on the parties, we then begin to talk of democracy and the use of money. We have also suggested that the National Assembly should stipulate what amount candidates can pay by way of nomination fee. So you don't have a situation where a political party will ask candidates, go and pay 100 million naira, go and pay 50 million naira, and so on and so forth. So we dwelt on many areas of the Electoral Act now where we feel that there are some lacunae that will have to be addressed. But a most important one is the political culture. Today, the worst elections in Africa are conducted in the local governments by state electoral commission that are even headed by judges and senior lawyers. So, but again, because people believe nothing will happen, there is no sanction for impunity. That is why we are in a mess with respect to election petitions in our country and respect for the rights of our people.
All right. So let me ask you this, Mr. Falana. There are accusations, and we've seen some of the politicians coming forward with, and if you go on IREV, perhaps some of those things that you see, the accusations of revealing of election results. How devastating, I mean, if validated and found out to be true by our court, how devastating could this be? Could this be the new tactics by the electoral, by the political class to subvert our electoral process?
Now, this is where we blame judges instead of the members of the political class. Where you fail to hold valid primaries, there is a provision under the law that whatever results, whatever elections that are based on invalid primaries or no primaries at all, will be no election. So you don't blame the courts. If a political party fails to field candidates who have emerged from valid primaries. Secondly, if politicians fail to allow the democratic process to take place, if they simply impose candidates, those candidates may have problems. Again, one issue that we discussed is that before 2010, the screening of candidates going to contest elections was the task imposed on INEC. The political class took that away from INEC, that only political parties will screen candidates. We now discover that candidates are not screened. Candidates with questionable credentials are allowed to contest elections. Now, those cases now arrive. We are now blaming judges. So we have suggested that the screening of candidates should now be the business of the political party regulatory commission that Waste Panel had recommended. That is, you unbundle INEC, you are going to have the INEC as it is, but you take the powers to prosecute electoral offender and ask the Electoral Offences Commission to do that. The political parties Regulatory Commission would deal with screening of candidates, registration of political parties, delineation of constituencies, and so on and so forth, so that INEC can face squarely the task of conducting election. Now, you saw what happened in Kogi, in Kogi Central, where results had been, ballot papers had been thumbprinted, right? And when they were brought, the voters protested. Now, that has nothing to do with the Independent National Electoral Commission. This was just the act of politicians who have no respect for the democratic rights of the people. Now, but again, at the end of the day, the votes were counted. So what do you make of that? Oh, everybody should go to court. Again, we are tasking the members of the tribunal that will be set up to determine matters they know nothing about, because they were not on ground when these monumental, violations of the Electoral Act were committed by well-known people, and nothing will happen to them. So these are the problems we have to address. Unless we can get members of the political class sanctions for impunity, we're not going to get out of this crisis with respect to conduct of elections.
All right.
And I'm happy.
Yeah.
I just confirmed from the INEC chairman that no less than 197 electoral offenders are going to be put on trial very soon. I mean, some of those who rigged the February-March election. But what happened 2 weeks ago was by far worse than all the complaints we brought up with respect to the elections of February and March. And so you then ask yourself, what will happen when we are going to have election in about 28 states? No, the other suggestion we have made, hold all elections in one day. The 4 elections should be held in one day, instead of holding presidential National Assembly election and then governorship and House of Assembly elections. We can hold the 4 elections in one day and save the huge costs that we currently spend on elections. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, good day, my brothers and sisters, my mommies and my daddies over there. Is your sister again, your doctor, your friend, your girl, Anointed Lady TV. Please, if today is your first time of coming across my YouTube channel, please do subscribe for me. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell. So each time I upload any video, you will be notified. So in this my channel, I will be bringing up many things to you in which you will benefit from it. I do talk show, I do news, anything you want to talk about, I am into it. Please subscribe and turn on the notification bell. So each time I upload any video or each time I'm on live on YouTube, you will be notified. Thank you very much for always being there for me. Please do subscribe for me, and as you do so, God will richly bless you and meet your heart desire. Thank you very much. I love you all. Yes, so my people, as I tell you, I say I go come back. I don't come back, una welcome back. As una see that video, una watch, how una see am. I want una leave una comment for the comment section there. Una tell me how una see the matter, whether it good or it bad. If it good, make una let me know. If it still bad, make una still let me know. I need to bring and come give una wey be my people wey dey here. Make una follow me shook mouth put whether it dey good or it dey bad. So if it dey right, una still leave una comment below. If it dey bad, una still leave una comment below. Una remember say everybody gets freedom of speech. Okay? All right. Thank you very much. So if you dey watch me, you never subscribe, my brother, sister, I beg you in the name of God, make you hit that red button and turn on the notification bell. So each time I upload any video, you will get notification and you will constantly watch me. Thank you very much. See you again in my other video. I love you all. Bye bye.